yesterday's video, I talked about this message from the Division 2 team, wherein they confirmed bans, rollbacks, suspensions, all that sort of stuff for people who were exploiting a bug that allowed players to join another player already in descent mode, which basically gave them a ton of XP and then obviously shade levels. Now, you all know my position on that. On this, I covered it yesterday. To summarise, I think this was needed, and I'm okay with these changes, with what the Massive have done here. My position is, at the end of the day, we're all adults. We all know what we're doing, and if you are deliberately using these exploits to gain an advantage, then you should suffer the consequences, and that's the end of it. That's my position, and that was almost coming from a PvE angle, really. But today I found out, and I mean, I don't play PvP, but this just adds to it. But in PvP, for every shade level that you gain a certain amount of health. I think it's like 10 health or something like that. So it just makes this even worse. But I just want to briefly talk about this because I've seen a lot of people who play Destiny jumping on this and basically saying how wrong this is. So firstly, Glad, who I'm not sure he plays Destiny now, but he definitely was a big Destiny player. As you can see here, he was part of Clan Redeem. They're the 3 times world first raiding team. So got a huge amount of experience in Destiny. As you can see, lol, quickest way to kill your game and turn off your hardcore dedicated supporter. Something in here smells familiar. And when he's talking about that, he's actually referring to Anthem, where I believe when Anthem went live, there was a bug or an exploit. People took advantage of it, and those people got banned and the game died. But we all know, if anyone who played Anthem, we all know the reason why Anthem died is not because of bans. It's because the game had no substance to it. It had some good bones, but ultimately it never had enough to sustain its audience. The ban was just one of those things that added on top of it going down eventually, but it wasn't the cause of it at all. And then we've also got Forza here, and you're going to see a theme. These are all Destiny players. I have issues with Destiny, but imagine if Bungie banned people who did the Menagerie chest exploit. That's actually an exploit I did. AFK Forge Farms, Double Hawthorne, Deep Sights, Capri's Horn, Iron Banner, New Light, Legendary Shard exploit, or any of the Telesto bugs. And then lastly, heading on to Nothing But Skills here, because I think he actually his position is exactly what my position is here. So let me just pull up his tweet. He was having a back and forth with Tom Warren here. So Tom Warren put, "This is precisely why I stopped playing the Division years ago. If you have bugs in your game, don't punish players for farming them." I think Tom Warren is senior editor at The Verge. To which Nothing But Skills responded saying, "You can tell you don't play it either. Players were getting 100k shade levels in a day, which made them god tier in PvP, which caused a huge advantage against legit players. It's like having 4 million health against a player with 500k health. Also, their weapons were maxed to 23 expertise. But again, you don't play, so you don't know how it really works in PvP." And this is my position as well. This Nothing But Skills is basically said exactly what I said. Now, for anyone who does play Destiny who disagrees with what Massive have done here, let me put it in perspective for you. If you're a PvP player in Destiny and you play Trials, for example, let's say you go into a Trials match and you've got 150 health. I'm not sure what the health is in Destiny. It might be 200, but anyway, let's say you've got 150 health. But the team you're playing against, all those members, they have 250 health each because they've used an exploit which has allowed them to gain more health than you can because you've been playing properly. You cannot tell me that you wouldn't be the first person on Twitter tweeting at Bungie saying this is unfair, these people need to be suspended for it, this exploit needs to be fixed, etc. You cannot tell me you wouldn't be doing that because 95% of you would be. There is no way Trials players would sit there and take it on the chin from people exploiting the game. It's just not going to happen. It just won't happen. And this is exactly what's happening in the Division 2. The PvE side of stuff isn't such a big issue because at the end of the day, PvE doesn't really affect anyone else. It's just your experience, really. Most of the time, not always. For example, if you were to go into World's First Raid, for example, in Destiny, let's say, for example, World's First Raid PvE, someone used an exploit which allowed them to get more health than you can get because you played legitimately, and you went into the raid. Would you be happy with that? Don't think so. I don't think so. It creates an unfair advantage. PvE in the Division 2, it doesn't really apply so much because there isn't really anything in the game that XP and shade levels make much difference to us. Well, not really. No, there really isn't, I don't believe. But in PvP, it absolutely does. And so with that in mind, this suspension and this rollback was absolutely necessary, and I'm 100% all for it. Now, you could say, and some people have said, well, maybe they need to fix the problem. And I can totally agree with you there. When it comes to shade levels in PvP, it needs to be capped. 100% needs to be capped. And then 99% of the people that were doing these exploit bugs and stuff, it wouldn't matter, because you get to a cap of maybe 1,000 shade levels, that's it. And you can't get any more than that. People aren't going to do it. 100% agree with that, and I think Massive 100% have to do that as soon as they possibly can. Other people have suggested that with a Descent XP here, maybe they should have just taken Descent offline. I'm not sure it's as easy as that. I'm not a developer. Most of us here are not developers. I don't know what goes into doing that. If Massive could do that, then absolutely I agree, they should do. I know it's something like Fortnite, for example, and even in Destiny, when stuff's broken, generally speaking, they just take the stuff out of the game until it can be fixed. So it's probably not a hard thing to do, but I'm not a developer, so I don't actually know how it would work in this game. But if they can do it, then they absolutely should. With that said, just because you can exploit a game doesn't mean you should do. And as adults, if you do, then I'm sorry, but you should face the repercussions of that. If I see a car that has the key in it and the door open, should I go and steal that car and then not be reprimanded for it? Don't think so. Just because the opportunity is there doesn't mean I should then take advantage of that opportunity. And that applies to this game. Just because Descent mode is there and there is this bug that you can use doesn't mean you should use it. And that's ultimately where I'm at. Okay, I think the suspension was necessary. I'm not going to comment on the time frame, the 2 weeks, because it's not my decision to make. I just think there should be a suspension. I think there should be rollbacks. 100% there should be rollbacks. And I think this was a good thing. There are things that Massive could do to stop this happening again, and they should definitely do that. But, and I'm going to reiterate it for a third time in this video, we are all adults, and just because something is there that we can take advantage of doesn't mean we should. And if we do, and we know we're doing it, then don't be surprised if you're reprimanded for doing it, especially when it's against terms and conditions in this game. But anyway, that's it. Until the next one, Epic.